title of it? What did you?
I didn't really have a title. I think we're live right now.
We live.
I just put Jason Q and Young Pharaoh and myself.
Okay, perfect. All right, I'm getting it out now.
Is it echoing for y'all?
No, I'm fine. I'm actually I'm fine. I can hear you guys fine. I'm just sharing the link now on Twitter and on Facebook and on Instagram.
Yeah, everybody who's watching, I would love to hear where you're from. While we're doing this, we're setting up, we're sharing, and if you guys could share and post. Let's see. Hey guys, okay, yay, hi. Awesome. We got a few people on right now. Pharaoh, I love to hear where y'all are from and what's going on, everybody. This is going to be really exciting. I'm excited. I'm getting these two guys together for a great purpose. It's going to be awesome. I'm just wondering what's going to happen. We got Young Pharaoh in the house. That's right. As well as Jason Q. And I would encourage you guys to go ahead and share and comment right away. Oh, we got Texas here, California, Ohio, Australia, Baltimore, Boca Grande, Florida, Nebraska, Arizona, Carolina, Boise, Alexandria. Oh my God. I went to school in Alexandria. That's cool. What's happening? Virginia, New York. Jason, someone says, Jason, we love you from the UK. Nice. Anderson, let's see, we got Ohio, Tennessee, New Jersey, Detroit. Nice, people. Awesome. So the main, first of all, my name is Dr. Sharnael, Wolverton-Sehon. Welcome to swiftfire.org True TV. I say True TV because we all know that there's TV that ain't true. So
all of it. All of it. Take that, throw it right out the window.
We want to tell the truth and nothing but the truth because we feel like you can handle the truth, bros. Yeah, that's what's going on. So really excited because Jason and I have a show every Thursday at 7. And I actually had Amelia Love and Young Pharaoh on last week or the week before?
Last week, I believe. Yes, ma'am.
And okay. So that was just like... And I'm like, oh my God, Jason has to meet you. You guys have to, you're going to be bros. It's going to be like epic. Y'all going to blow up everything, you know, and the good stuff. But so I told Jason, I'm like, we got to get him on and do like a special. And, you know, I just want to encourage everybody watching. First of all, if you've never been here before, welcome. We love new people. I hope you share and tag. And for all the subscribers, we love you so much. Thank you for all your positivity and love and beautiful spirits and high frequency. And if you haven't seen Young Pharaoh or Jason, you guys this is going to be a treat of your life, you know. And I would just encourage you, you know, we may talk about some things that you might not like or you might love, or I don't really know. But the point is, you know, what I like doing is bringing a lot of people together that have diverse backgrounds, diverse experiences, you know, different understandings, different perspectives. And when we come together, if everyone could just have the courage to listen to one another and like just sit at the same table and like talk and like hear each other out and like get ideas, then that is what brings an expansion. And 20 years ago, I had a dream, and what I heard is the cross-pollination and the collaboration is what brings the multiplication and the amplification. And so I really believe that we're living in times where we cannot play small. This is not a time to be small. This is a time to live big. And the only way to live big is to lock arms in unity and connect. And there has been such a tremendous connection that's been going on the last 10 months. What they meant for bad is turned against them because we have found each other. And we are blowing up and we are like really putting our 2 cents together. And we're just, anyway, so thank you for being on, both of you guys. And we welcome you, Young Pharaoh. And let's do this. Let's talk. Let's chat. One of the main things that I really wanted Jason to go into with young Pharaoh, because Pharaoh's total like mission purpose is like unity and helping people come up into their purpose. And why don't you share a little bit, young Pharaoh, about what you feel like you're here for?
Yes,
and then
ma'am.
I'm going to get Jason to give his 2 cents.
Yes, ma'am. Well, I want to definitely come on in proper form. Thank you once again for having me. Loved being here last time. It was a lot of fun. And I look forward to another session with you guys. Jason, nice to meet you. Heard a lot about you. Looking forward to seeing what I heard come to light here in this segment. And to make a long story shorter, because last time I made a long story short with my previous introduction, so I'll even crunch that down even more. I consider myself a polymathic genius. A polymath, for those of you who don't know, is a more advanced version of a monomath. A monomath is someone who develops a top 1% level of intellect within the subject matter. A polymath is someone who develops a top 1% level of intellect in multiple subject matters. I consider myself to be a modern day young black polymath. My spiritual system is in synchronicity with the specified realm of my ancestors, which I consider to be known today as the ancient Egyptians. The reason I say that is because nobody spoke English back then, so we don't know what they called themselves. So we have to identify with them on the frequency that we are all familiar with, which would be the title Egyptians. And my purpose actually changes the more knowledge that I gain. And I'm not saying my purpose changes, but the strength and the perspective of that purpose changes, I would like to say. My purpose, if I was speaking in front of the world right now and they asked me, why am I born today? What am I here to do? I would say I'm here to deliver a very accurate truth to the mind that has been not grasped because you're unaware that it's sitting right there on the shelf. So what's happening right now with everyone on this planet is we're walking in the room and we're looking for the light switch. And we know that it's a light switch somewhere here, but we just can't seem to find it. And some of us never find that light switch because we give up. Some of us never gave up looking for that light switch, and we've been looking for it for 30 years. And some of us found that light switch 15 years ago, and we've been living in the light. So the thing is, we're all in the same room. Is just all of us have some of us have found the light switch, and they're using the light that they found to take advantage of people who haven't yet found that light switch. Or you got people like us who found the light switch, and from the things that we see, we're showing others where to find the light switch. So I have to introduce myself in that manner because a part of finding the light switch is you must find the light switch. I'm not your savior. I'm not your God. Don't ask me a million questions about if your life is in your hands. Your free will is in your hands. And so I want to introduce myself on that level because I don't want anyone idolizing anyone. I don't want anyone deifying anyone. We need to see each other for our strengths, take those strengths with us, learn from each other's weaknesses, and pick up none of each other's evils. That's the whole point of life. And I wanted to give my introduction that way, so that way people understand knowledge should be used to give strength to a weaker mind. Knowledge should not be used to destroy, manipulate, hide, or take advantage of those who may be weaker in their minds.
Awesome. And we know that Jason is not just a genius truther, but he has the facts to back up everything. And so one of the things that Jason and I had talked about is having to do with your purpose, specifically to the Black culture and what's going on the planet today. Jason, talk to us a little bit about what you've talked to me, and I know many others about the Black culture and the purpose of them, specifically, and all their giftings and the beauty of who they are and their diversity.
Well, the thing is that the Black community and, the Black just people in general are like, they're the top of the pyramid. They really are, because ever since, since the beginning of time, I mean, I've got stacks and stacks of books on it. And with them having all the melanin, their melanin, it's such a high rate that they actually hold all that truth, all that knowledge. And the problem is that you come up with these people like this Margaret Sanger and Bill Gates and Bill Gates the second, not the third. And what they want to do is they want to eradicate all the blacks for their reasoning, saying that, oh, well, we just don't want them around because they know that they have all that power. Because if you look back when Dr. King was still alive and everything like that, I mean, they tried to frame him for things and everything. I mean, all the man was trying to do is trying to unite everybody. That's all he's trying to do. But you know what? They don't want us united. Well, too damn bad this time because we're all coming united now and we're done.
That's right.
I mean, it makes you it makes you sick that they want you divided in every single category possible. Even down to sports and everything. Sports have got to go because the thing is that's still division. Because you can sit here and say, well, I don't like that guy because he doesn't like the same team I like. For what? I mean, there's nothing wrong with the person. You're just gonna that's his hometown. I mean, every little thing has to have a division to it, and it's getting old. I mean, it really is. I mean, once you start learning some of this, it gets addicting, and once it gets that point, once you hit that light switch, like young Pharaoh said, once you find that light switch, you ain't wanting to turn it off. You want to drag everybody to that light switch and say, hey, hit that switch. Let's go. Especially now. Because it's time to go,
And whether it's gender or, men against women or straight against non-straight or black against white or Chinese against Indian, or I'm just making shit up now, but I'm just saying like there are, sports divisions. When you brought that up, I was like, damn, like I never thought about it because he was saying that there's divisions within sports. Hello, that's like in your face.
They throw it right at you.
But yeah, I mean, Democrat, Republican, even it's like I don't care about that. I don't care about any of it. Let's focus on policy, people, hearts, character, fruit.
That's right, Prince.
American patriot.
And I'm glad we're having this conversation because what this does is it shows that mental strength is the number one form of strength that everybody should be pursuing. And the reason that that's needed is because you need mental strength to have conversations that maybe physically or even emotionally or spiritually uncomfortable to have. And the thing about the truth that nobody wants to accept is the truth is not always pleasant. The truth is not always jolly. The truth is not always comfortable, which means if the truth is painful and your mind must hold it, then your mind must be able to hold certain levels of pain. So you got to increase the pain threshold of your mind in order to obtain certain levels of knowledge. And what people are not understanding is on one level it is about race, but on another level it's not. It's about mental strength because we're from different races and we can all have an uncomfortable conversation about race that maybe we didn't start the problems, but people that look like us started the problem, and we can come together and solve the problems because we have the mental strength to do so. And so once again, I'm glad we're having this conversation. And I'll just jump right out and say this. As a black entity, as a black man in this world, right? Here is where I am today. And I'm gonna project my mind so that way I can kind of basically hit everybody else's light switch for them or speak for people that may not even be in their right state of mind. As a black man, right? Here's where my mind pretty much is today. I'm looking at history. I'm seeing all of the accomplishments of my ancestors. I'm looking at the modern world today, and I'm seeing the modern world completely void of the highlighting of those accomplishments, which to a certain extent, is not wrong because it's my job as a black person to uphold black history. It's not, a white person's job. So, 50% of the answer is our fault that we're not upholding our own culture. But then the other question is why, when some of us do, like he brought up Martin Luther King, even though for my own personal reasons I highly disagree with Martin Luther King, but when some of us do, such as Martin Luther King or Malcolm X or people such as myself, we get immediately attacked or immediately shunned from, let's say, Western spheres of existence or non-Black circles of existence. And the question is why? And when you study yourself genetically, like, if a lion knew he was a lion genetically, he would be able to intellectually utilize his skill. But the lion is not able to create a certain level of thought that the human is to actually be aware of himself, to conduct himself in different behaviors. So the let's say the threat level of the lion will always it will always have a ceiling. When it comes to myself, I'm able to sit back. I'm able to understand genetics. To understand what makes Black people different, white people different, Spanish people different, Dravidian people different, Mongoloid people different, etc. And I'm able to actually pinpoint exactly who I am in this world. And where I am in my mind right now is you have beautiful people such as yourself that are not Black, right? But we kind of hold the same thirst, the same quest for truth. And here's one of the realest issues I think the world needs to really address. When Black people such as myself walk into a room, or we walk into a country or a nation, or we step foot on the soil that, of course, we know we've been here all of these years, but we may not be the current occupying powers. I think one of the biggest issues is when we speak about unity, that's not so much a problem, but the question is remedying the past. Someone like me who subscribes to my African Egyptian ancestors, the day that Black people request or demand, whatever word we want to use, possession back over cultural properties, such as all of the artifacts that are in the British Museum, or just worldwide, such as certain structures that are sentimentally sacred to us, what happens in the world? And I think that's the elephant in the room that nobody wants to address. And I'm not saying you guys brought it up. I'm just bringing it up because I think it's a great talking point. And I think you guys' minds are genuine great minds that I would want to hear your opinion in regards to this. But just come into my mind, right? Outside of talking about who Blacks are or things like that, I think one of the biggest reasons or weaponizational tools or uses for race is to kind of deflect the elephant in the room. If we say we're all one race and we're all the same people, at what point in time do I get to culturally distinguish myself, which would allow me to ask for certain property, either ask or demand certain custodies or possessions over certain properties? And I think that is really honestly what the biggest problem is. And I bring this up because I see people like Donald Trump, right? Donald Trump is saving America. Whether people agree with that or not, whether people like that or not, that's just what it is. And the fact is always going to be a fact, whether you agree with it or not. Donald Trump is saving what is precious to patriots. What is a patriot? A patriot is a Caucasian who came over here in the 16 and 1700s. Some were criminals, some were not, to escape British colonial injustice, levels of authority, etc. And Donald Trump today is bringing back that revolutionary patriotic spirit that was present to fight off colonialism. And I respect that. And in that same spirit, now someone such as myself coming from my race, how do we go about restoring ourselves and re-grasping our cultures and our properties without unnecessarily starting a beef or without unnecessarily starting a race war? And I wanted to bring that up because we're in sacred times right now. And my support, as I end here, my support for Donald Trump is from what I see, genuine behavior. And the reason I feel strongly to speak on this is because we have, as Black people, helped white people every time they've ever needed help, whether it was the Civil War, whether it was, multiple, just whether it was a Civil War, Vietnam, World War I, World War II, the war in Iraq, whatever war, we have been there. And my thing is, when this is all said and done, and the swamp is drained, and the Democrats are out of here, and we aid once again in draining the swamp, what would be I'm not gonna say appropriate step, but what would be a comfortable mechanism that we could go or take to claiming our independence from colonial powers and re-grasping properties that would allow us to preserve our culture, just as Donald Trump is preserving this culture?
Well, for one thing, and I know Jason's got some stuff to say, but for one thing, I think the word patriot, I mean, this is just my opinion, and, it's worth whatever it's worth. Patriot to me doesn't mean the same thing that you're saying. I don't see a patriot as a white person. I personally, I grew up military, and my dad fought in wars, and he went to TDY, and he was all over the world, and we were standing head shoulder to shoulder with all kinds of colors of people, and not only overseas but here in the States. My son is doing the same thing with all kinds of people. There are hundreds, if not millions, like you said, that went to war that are all kinds of colors. And so a patriot to me is not about a color. A patriot to me is someone who's fighting for the strength of our country, and what America is supposed to be about, which is about freedom, justice. Yes, I do agree with you 100% about Trump being the one to help. And I know Jason was talking about something that happened on TV today, or I missed that part because y'all were talking about it earlier. Can you share what happened? Because I missed that. Jason?
Oh, about the press conference he had today?
Yeah, what happened today?
Well, the thing is that he is undeniably, hands down, the greatest troll monster I've ever witnessed in my entire life. I mean, he just owns it. He had a press conference today, and he mentioned about the Dow Jones hitting 30,000 points. He called it a sacred number, right? And then the thing is that this is the third Tuesday since the election. If you note how we had the calendar and all that from, kind of down from 14 all the way to 0 Delta, which was 11-3, and then add 3 weeks, right? We're right here. We're right on it right now. It's 11/24. Yesterday was pain day. Now we're really getting deep in it. The thing is 30,000 is a sacred number, and then you have week 3, right? You have 33. So they're taking out the Illuminati pretty much. Yeah. And he mentions it's the 9th time since 2020 that it broke records. Now remember, he always follows 369. He always follows the Tesla code. Now here he comes in with the 48th time in his presidency that records have been broken. Now, anybody that's ever looked into Nasera or anything like that, or the Jubilee, the Jubilees, it goes all the way back to the books 1 and 2 of Chronicles 1 and 2 of the Old Testament. And they mention about the Golden Jubilee, in which case, once it hits year 49, you have a year of rest, and everything is all debts are paid. All lands are given to the owners. Everything's forgiven. Well, that gives us one more, right? Now, the thing is, at his press conference, the time of it was 1 minute and 7 seconds.
Wow.
Exactly. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. Now, the Dow Jones rose more than 400 points today. Now, Delta is a 4. If you're going linear, if you're going in one way in time travel, you're going one way, it's 4. Or 1.4%, which is a 14, which is a 7.7. Now, the S&P 500, it has a greater impact on the 401ks. It says it rose to 1.3%. And the S&P 500 index was up 0.9%. Now, the funny thing is that there were 2 turkeys pardoned also. And they were sent to Iowa State. Because, he's like, oh, we love them farmers. Who else was sent home to Iowa the past week and a half? It's Chuck Grassley.
Oh.
Chuck Grassley was sent home because he came in contact with somebody with, that. The thing is that it's the names of the turkeys that he called them. He called them corn and cob. Now, pretty much, here's your harvest, okay? They're all staying in cornfields, and everything like this. Now you got corn and cob. And the thing is, Iowa Center, you got Grassley, corn and cob, harvest time. But then there's this woman, this Emily W. Murphy, because we don't want to mix her up with Emily Murphy that was born in 1868 in Canada. But this one, she's an administrator of the General Services Administration, GSA. Now, she actually acknowledged Biden's win yesterday on the 23rd. Now, the problem is that when she was actually when she, came into her own and she was, when she was appointed by unanimous consent on December 5th, 2017. There's a D5, unanimous consent. Whenever anybody is in unanimous consent, swamp creature instantly. That's an instant, that's no brainer right there. Because it's two heads on the same bird. They both got to go. I mean, it's just bad. And then the thing is that it says in March 2018, an Inspector General's report found out that Murphy had a policy of permitting alcohol consumption on agency property. I'm like, in what job can anybody just start boozing it up right on job site? I mean, and then still have a job. But then the big one was that, because they were fighting about the transition team and, Biden and Harris wasn't getting in there. Number one, Trump won all 50 states. Everybody can calm down.
That's right.
This is just all formality. They're just trying to teach us, say, look, guys, this is what we almost lost. I mean, we almost lost one of the greatest republics ever. I mean, and people should be scared. They should want to learn this stuff, because that's the problem. Everybody wants to learn whatever somebody else says on especially the television, because that's why we're all here now, is that we just turned that off and then we started looking for ourselves and realized that who's been lying to us. It's the same people that have been, denying young Pharaoh's ancestors, all of their histories and inventions and innovations. It's just like they just want to write them right out of history. And I know who it is. I'm not going to say their names, but starts with a J, ends with an S.
That's right.
Stinks in the middle. It's ew. So let's go ahead and go to November 10th, right? Where now the thing is that Murphy talked to this David Barham, which was G.W. Bush's GSA administrator during the 2000 election. The one where they were going to give up our flag.
Yep. That
whole one. But the thing is, on November 10th, 4 former secretaries of Homeland Security. Now, remember where Homeland Security came from. They started that because of 9/11, because, we're under attack, by who? We'll wait till those names come out. People are going to be really, really livid about that. But the names that they listed, Tom Ridge, Michael Chertoff, 110% Mossad, Jenna Napolitano, whatever her last name is, and that Thunder Beast right there, she is that Judge Napolitano. They've got to be twins, brothers, sisters. I mean, they look just alike. They act just alike, everything. And then they had Jed Johnson. They called upon Murphy to initiate the transition, right? Now, the thing is that why do you have all these secretaries of Homeland Security calling somebody and initiating the transition when they have until December 14th to legalize this? It's like, why are they pushing this?
That's what I want to know, right?
And the thing is that look what happened. They said, that next day House Democrats sent Murphy a letter reading, your actions in blocking transition activities required under the law are having grave effects, including undermining the orderly transfer of power. When have we ever seen that in this administration? Right? Never been orderly at all.
Right.
Impairing the incoming administration's ability to respond to the coronavirus pandemic. Seriously, if we have to go over this one more time, there is no pandemic. There's nothing. They took care of what they had, the plague they took care of. That was not in China. It was in California. It was when those choppers landed on Wilshire Boulevard and they hosed that box down that had all the Black Death in it. That's what they were going to unload on us. Other than that. And then it says, hampering its ability to address our nation's dire economic crisis. Didn't the Dow just hit 30,000 today? I wouldn't call that an economic crisis. Just open everything up. Take off the damn masks, because all it's doing is you're breathing in bad air.
That's right.
That's what's giving people this pneumonia. That's what's getting people sick, especially now that it's getting cold outside. But it's going to have people recycling that dirty air. That's what's going to get them sick. Take off the mask. There's nothing to be worried about. I mean, don't get any flu shots. Don't get any vaccines, because they're all bioweapons. We have all the paperwork on it. Don't let them touch you. They can't even tell you what's in it, but they're going to, because once Trump goes ahead and locks this in, and all these like AstraZeneca and all these other places come in, he's going to take them all and have them all tested, and they're going to list everything that's in them, and say, you know what, public, you wanted this? Here's exactly what's in it: aborted fetal cells, aluminum, everything that's going to kill you. It's like, you want to put that in your body? It's like, think, guys, come on. That's the problem. Nobody wants to think.
That's right.
I mean, that's all. I mean, it's like the state of Michigan certified their results, right? Detroit had a 300%.
That is crazy. Yeah, talk about that. That's crazy, because all the other counties, and then Detroit is just 300%. Come on.
And then they had all these mail.
I don't know if you heard this, young Pharaoh, but this is interesting. Check this out.
They had all these mail-in ballots come in. Now, if you have to mail something like a ballot in, what do you have to do? You have to fold it. You have to put a crease in it, right?
That's right.
There weren't any creases in any of them. Nothing. They were all flat. It's like, so now we have, now we have magic postal service.
Right.
That takes the folds and bends out of everything. That's awfully nice of them, I mean, and then the circles are exactly circled. I mean, you couldn't do that if you tried. It's all computerized. I mean, the thing is that in 1878, they had a Supreme Court decision, right? One issue of fraud means it's the whole thing's fraud. The whole thing's fraudulent. But Trump wants to run out this with the military, wants to bring out this vaccine that for every American. It's not a vaccine. It's blockchain voting. Every American has to vote. He's just using their words against them, because they like to use all their like energy for children and carbon for humans. And he's just using it all against them. He's like, you know what? We're going to bring this out real quick. So all these drug producers and all that, they're hurrying up with all these vaccines. And then he's just going to say, hold up. We're going to go ahead and test all these first. And they are going to be shitting bricks, because that's going to be the end of Big Pharma, because Big Pharma is the last one to go down, because it's in his second tweet that he tweeted during the Q movement, because they started counting his tweets. His first tweet said that it was going to be that the GDP was going to be 3.0, and that despite all the hurricane hits. And then he said it was going to be the most consecutive Qs in years. Now, when you read that, you're like, okay, you think most consecutive quarters. Right. Well, no. We just had 3 consecutive Qs in years. Started in 2017, October 28th. Right. Now, October 28th, 2020, October 29th, that's when you start the D class, DECLAS. It puts you right at 11-3. And it's like they're playing this all by numbers because it's mathematically impossible for it to just be a coincidence. Because words could lie. People can lie to you with their words and everything. Math will never lie to you.
Numbers don't lie.
Cosmic universal law, 1 + 2 will always equal 3.
That's right.
Always.
That's right.
So I didn't get to tell you, Jason, and I definitely didn't get to talk to you, young Pharaoh, but today I actually spoke with a woman who was a part of the ballot counting in Michigan. And I wanted to interview her, but she did not feel comfortable going public. And she said that actually her whole family has not even invited her to Thanksgiving because she's been telling people what happened and her family's upset with her. But basically, number one, first of all, she was supposed to go to Michigan direct, and they tried to shut it down because they said of the sea that was going on, they weren't letting people in to do the recount. And then they talked about having her do the recount at her house, which I don't know how the F that happens because how are you supposed to do recounts at your house? They're going to Zoom call it in or send trucks to her house and she's going to count it or whatever. But in the end, I think enough people like freaked out about it and kind of were like, what do you mean at my house? Probably, you know, hundreds of people do that. And she's been doing this for like, I think she said 19 years. She's been a part of this whole system. And they did let her come in to recount. And she said that she saw fraud after fraud after fraud after fraud after fraud. And every time she went to go talk to them, that she was told, write up a report. And so she went and brought the reports to the person in charge, and they would rip up the reports right in front of her. And she said she had dozens of reports. And she said that she wished she had made copies because she didn't bring one in at a time. She brought them all at once, just thinking, you know, it's the end of the day and these are the ones. And when so she brought it all up, then they ripped them and she had to go home that day. And she was like, if I would have known, I would have made it because now it's my word against hers.
Right.
Man, you always make copies of everything. Everything.
Exactly. Yeah, they playing a dirty game. On top of the ballot, the blatant ballot fraud. Another thing I want people to be aware of is these tech companies that have basically been behind the scenes aiding and abetting political figures. And I need for people to have that drilled in their head. You know, it's not just, I'm going to bring up Dominion, but it's not just Dominion. If you know, for those of you who may not be familiar with me, I did a presentation on Jeffrey Epstein a few months ago. It was called Jeffrey Epstein, Israeli Messiah's biggest 30-year spy. And for those of you who don't know, Jeffrey Epstein was not only an Israeli Messiah spy. Ghislaine Maxwell was his handler, not his girlfriend. Her father also was an Israeli Messiah spy, Robert Maxwell. And the reason that this is important is because Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell have ties to, I believe they're called Unit 8400, which is an Israeli military service who deals with tech. And that's right. And you know, I'm gonna give the benefit of the doubt here. I'm gonna say maybe be announced or unbeknownst to all levels of law enforcement, whether it be federal, local, or whatever, they have adopted this technology, and this technology has been transferring our data over there. And so the reason I'm bringing that up is to prove that foreign entities have been technologically interfering with this company for over 30 years. So when we tell y'all things like the voting machines are computer tapped or cyber rigged, whatever fancy words you want to use, believe it, because other aspects of your life are rigged by foreign countries and you don't even realize it. Every time you call 911, 9 times out of 10, you know, you worried about the NSA listening to the phone call. Israel or China might be listening to your phone call. Another thing I want to bring up, right? Because I'm in love with literature. So I've stumbled upon this. Everybody remembers the McGraw-Hill books in school. Whether you used to read your books or throw your books in the class, you remember that on the book. McGraw-Hill was actually published and owned by Robert Maxwell, who was an Israeli spy. So when we sit here and we ask ourselves, Why is the American public just so stupid? It's everybody. Everybody's stupid as hell. You know what I'm saying? I used to think like, oh, you know, these people are smarter than these people, and I come amongst them and I'm like, oh, y'all some dumbasses too. And when we ask ourselves, why is the American public so retarded? Why are these college kids so stupid and spoiled? And why is the level of intellect in this country so low? It's because our education systems are being fueled and funded by Israel and China. And if you look at the new curriculum that's been adopted in public schools now, even though it's no longer McGraw-Hill, they still adopted the inner curriculum of the McGraw-Hill. So right now, as I'm speaking to y'all on this live stream, if you go to a public school, you are being lied to. 95% of what's in that book is a lie, and it's not even a lie being told by local liars. It's a lie coming from overseas. And so here's why I'm bringing that up. You got people like myself, and I would consider myself a conscious spiritual black man. You got people like this gentleman, this woman above me on the screen that would consider themselves patriotic whites. And the average person would argue with them. Like, you know, oh, you're lying to us in school. They being lied to too. And this is what I'm trying to show y'all. This country is being destroyed from the inside out by outside entities. It's basically, and I'll pass the mic here. If I could give an analogy of what's happening to America, it would be the equivalent to a stranger teaching you to go against your parents. Your parents is telling you, hey, don't go to that party on Saturday at 8 o'clock. But the boy up the street is telling you, sneak out the window, we going to the party. And you are going to the party, and you don't realize you're not going to make it back from this party that you've been gassed up to go to. And that's pretty much what's happening. Y'all are getting the child in you. I have to just directly speak. It's a child in everybody. It's three people in everybody. It's your child, it's your teen to adult, mid-adult self, and then there's your elder self. Unless you're 50 or 60, you haven't really become your elder self, so you live in between your child and your adult self. The child in you is not healed. The child in you is damaged, and a child in you psychologically is seeking justification for how that aspect of your reality feels. And it is that part of yourself that's being manipulated into fucking up the whole world. Just for me to be directly, deal with y'all as adults. We are all adults. These people who run the country are not just Satanists, they're professionals. And that's what y'all not understanding. It's a difference between a gangbanger and it's a difference between a commando. It's a difference between a liar that just lies, and it's a difference between a social engineer. It's a difference between somebody who accidentally, it's a difference between Steve on Jackass, and then it's a difference between an evil nuclear physicist who knows exactly what he's doing. So what people are not realizing is your beef is really not with the police. Your beef is really not with your neighbor. Your beef is with that person you have never seen in your life.
Yeah.
Your beef is with the person you don't even know. The person that you really got a problem with wears a lab coat for a living. The person that you really got a problem with wears a suit for a living. And so the reason that the country is, so in turmoil, whether it be the elections or whatnot, is because, the reason we're falling for what the mainstream media wants us to fall for is because we're not understanding who to really be mad at. And we're being mad at people with American flags and, people who going to school just like us reading at McGraw-Hill. So I just want to direct the mind of the country that you should be mad at professionals who are evil. You should, if you ever watch the movie Get Out of all of the stuff you got out of that movie, the main thing you should have got out of it was these are professionals. This isn't just some crazy random killer. These are psychologists. These are neurosurgeons. These are people who are very skilled at what they do, and they happen to be assholes. And so to pass it back to JQ, what we need to start asking ourselves is, what happened to the quiet people in high school that nobody paid attention to? Because they grew up and they became somebody. What happened to the computer nerds that never got a date at prom? That person grew up and he became somebody. He might have grew up and became Bill Gates. He might have grew up and became Mark Zuckerberg. We're not paying attention to the developmental process of human beings. And that is why we have so many wicked people in powerful places because we too busy following what's trending instead of following what's actually happening. And we're so busy caught up on trying to be the cool kids in the world, we're not paying attention. And what's happening right now is all of the strong men and women are being dominated by the weird nerds of the world. And that's just no other way to put it. And they fight in secret because they don't have the ability to fight in the open. If Bill Gates was built like that, he would just come out and say, I'm vaccinating and killing as many people as I can, what y'all want to do. But he's not built like that because he's never been built like that. So we're losing intellectually because we're too focused on being strong. And the way that the pyramid goes is it goes weakest, weaker, weak. And then it goes strong, stronger, strongest. The only person above the strongest is the person that's intelligent. And then it goes intelligent, most intelligent. Whoever is at the level of most intelligent is more powerful than everybody that's below. So what everybody in this country really needs to do is apply that skill to their life and ask themselves, where do I fit on this scale physically and mentally? And the person above you is who your problem is with. And I promise you, if you apply that scale to your life, it's going to lead you right back to Israel, China, the Democrats, these big tech companies, and all of the weirdos who are more intelligent than you. And you know, you can bet me, you can try that, bet me on that and tell me if I'm wrong.
Well, I want to jump in and say that, I mean, I'm a self-proclaimed geek, but I think Jason Q has got like most of the world beat because he's got 160,000 pages of documents that are in tubs all around his house that he's literally printed out.
And let me say this. Let me say this before you continue, because I want people like Jason and like Sharnael. We got to flip the script. Intelligence can no longer be a nerd thing. It can
You're right. Thank you. You're right.
Y'all want to say that. When I say nerd, to me, a nerd is somebody who's not interested in intelligence. If you just wasting your life and you just, I don't care what you're doing, you just frivolously gang banging, or you just play the game all day, you are lame to me. I don't think that's cool. I want people to know, people like Jason, people like Sharnael, those are the people that should be trending. People who read, people who get into real life and information. We gotta flip the script. We can't devalue people who look to strengthen their mind. Because if for no other reason, Jason has 160,000 of some of the greatest documents you can have. If it wasn't for us, it would be for him. And the fact that he wants to strengthen his mind should be saluted. And so we need to completely change the narrative of, you know, what's cool and what's not cool. I don't think people. Yeah, I want to say that, but you know,
you're right. You're 100% right, and it's sexy to be scientific and data driven. How about that? And I can vouch.
That's right.
I can vouch for all the women that are going after Jason because of his strength and his intelligence and his dad. I mean, believe me, he's got women like contacting me about him. So I know. But anyway, Jason, I'd love for you to share, because I'm all about critical thinking too. And I love that you said this. He's blushing over here. I love that you said this, Pharaoh, because you're right. I changed my language. I recommit. You're right. It's sexy to be scientific and to dig and get your own research and not listen to what everyone else is saying, but have some critical thinking. Go ahead, Jason.
Well, we're going to get a little bit more sexier from what young Pharaoh had to say about Unit 8200, which is the Talpiot program from Israel, which was created by Raphael Eitan, you know, BB's best buddy and all that. And where all that came from, they were stealing their uranium from the Pennsylvania mines, from NUMEC, right? The thing is that the uranium that they were getting from NUMEC, from the mines, it has its own unique signature to it. The thing is that they found it over in Israel. Because Israel, what a lot of people, you know, they can say, oh, Israel's so great. No, Israel is evil.
That's right.
People run around here. They're running around with an Israeli flag on their back. Do you even know what that star means? It's the star of Moloch.
So explain. Yeah, go into that.
Right. It's the star of Moloch. They do not, you know, number one, worship just Take that word and just set it aside. Because you know what you should be doing? You should be finding yourself, going inside yourself,
Right.
learning about yourself, not trusting yourself, believe yourself. I mean, this whole process, they're trying to develop us into better human beings, so that when we do jump to the next stage of the celestial beings, that we're not sitting around here dicking the dog doing the same shit we've been doing.
Right.
I mean, if people knew some of the stuff that these Israelis have been doing, shooting little 5-year-old Palestinian kids in the back of the head for shits and giggles. I mean, you want to see the list that we have for this whole Tapia program. They have 3 years of military, 3 years of computer, and then 3 years of combining both of them.
Right.
They're all hackers. That's all they are. They're all hackers. And the thing is that they pretty much have a kill switch on the world. They can monitor everything. But then everybody wants to kiss her ass. Why? Because they bring up one instance, the Holocaust. Well, we could bring that up too. I mean, anybody ever hear the Wannsee meeting? I mean, because right then and there, they would know that they didn't kill the Jews. They relocated them. That's why you have the Khazarians, the Ashkenazis. Oh, and the Ashkenazis, where are they from? West of the Rhine River. Where's the Rhine River? In Germany. What's the last 4 letters in Ashkenazi? N-A-Z-I? It's Nazi.
I just said it.
They're all one and the same. They're all one and the same.
Right.
The thing is that the Ashkenazi Jews, they infiltrated America and they were going to kill us all.
That's
Because
right.
they wanted this third temple built like hell and everything like this, because they were going to have David Rothschild come out looking like the painted Jesus Christ that is actually Caesar Borgia. And
That's
then
right.
everybody here was going to say, oh, look, it's Jesus Christ, our Savior. Guess what? Under the Noahide laws that they signed, that right there, we all get beheaded.
Christ. Yep.
And then where do they lead us to? They lead us right to Denver International Airport, where they have this 88.2 mile long, I mean, it's massive. They have 2 70-story buildings underneath it. And who bought all the land? It was the Queen of England. They're all in on it. They're all the Nazis. I mean, they're all one and the same.
Yeah.
There is no this, that. They all hate us.
That's right.
All of them. Because they're all lizards. They're all baby-eating lizards. That's all they are.
That's
They've
right.
all been infected by this vril. I mean, just got to get rid of them. That's why we live in a quarantined earth. That's why we have a firmament over us.
The vault.
It's a dome.
But
I mean,
these are the conversations that people are not mentally strong enough to have, because as soon as you use words like child,
Yeah.
the immaturity kicks in. And I feel like so many people don't realize that they're so retired. And I use words like retarded because I feel like you have to just call a spade a spade. So many people are so retarded and just so comfortable in their little matrix life. They're going to slaughter themselves by just not trying to listen. I feel like people have to really wake up. And what I want truthers to do, if you're watching this, you either Morpheus or you either Neo at the cubicle. It's one of the two. And what I want truthers to realize is, we able to do what we do because we have a clear frequency of mental health, and we got to keep that clear. And in order to keep that clear, you got to accept the truth. And one painful truth is everybody not gonna care about their own demise. Some animals cry on the way to the slaughterhouse, and others play in the back of the truck the whole way there until they get their throat slit. And so what people need to realize is, I totally agree with Jason. I stand with Jason. So if anybody want to say anything about him being anti-Semitic, just tie me in there too, because I totally agree. These people are. Go ahead.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Anti-Semitic, if you don't mind.
Here we go with this too, because I will be the first one to tell you I am the biggest anti-Semite there is, because nobody has ever looked up the Semitic religion. It's neo-paganism. But then they want to call you an anti-Semite. It's like, well, that means that you're okay, so that means that you're anti-evil. So that's pretty good, right? I mean,
but not anti-Jewish, not anti-Muslim.
There is no, the whole Jewish bit and everything like that. It's imaginary. They can't measure that in your DNA.
Exactly.
It's impossible.
It's not a genetic module. It's like somebody creating a religion out of being a Crip.
That's it. It's all it's Judaism.
Yeah, it's the ideology. but I couldn't find that in your DNA. And so that's what, people are silly, but to lay this out, right? Here's what we're dealing with, right? Because a lot of people are going to say, well, how did these people get so far? They've been planning this out for thousands of years. There are beings on this planet that have been here for a long time, seeking to influence the world into their energetic spectrum of reality. So, just to jump right in there, Democrat, right? The word demo literally means demon. Go look up the etymology root of the word.
Oh my God, yes.
That comes from the word Krisi or kratos, which means rulership. The word Democrat literally is, I'm not arguing with you. I'm just go look it up. The word Democrat literally means demonic rulership. Now you have to ask yourself, who the hell would want to establish a demonic rule? A Satanist or a Luciferian? Duh. Then now you have to jump into that doctrine. And I'm just jumping doctrines without going too much into detail to show y'all where to look. So you go into the Luciferian doctrine, you go into the occult. That brings you into Judaism. If you ever study the occult, if you ever study Luciferianism, if you ever study Satanism, if you ever study Aleister Crowley, Madame Blavatsky, if you ever study any of these people, Hitler, it's impossible for you not to come back to the Jews. We're dealing with communism right now. China, one of the most wicked entities on the planet today, got their ideology from Karl Marx. Who is Karl Marx? A Jew. So it's really cut and paste in your face. You just don't want to see it. And here's my thing. Blood Labelle. And I don't want nobody saying that's fake because I have photographic and historical evidence of coffins of children, Christian children, who have had major arteries slit during sacrifices from the Jews. If you do your history on the Jews have been already kicked out over 100 countries for child sacrifice alone. And you can't say it's not true, because what are we fighting right now? We're fighting the introduction of pedophilia into the general public. We're fighting to drain the swamp. What is the swamp? Not just people who want to enslave us cybernetically, but people that are pedophiles. Stop acting like you don't remember Jeffrey Epstein was a Jew. Stop acting like you don't remember Lex Wessner was a Jew. Stop acting like you don't understand Harvey Weinstein was a Jew. Stop acting like you don't understand Joe Biden said he was a Zionist and he loves Jews. Stop acting like you don't understand what's right in your face. All these Pizzagate, what's his name? What is his name? The Pizzagate dude, the owner of the shop.
Oh yeah,
he's a Jew.
Elefantis. Well, and then you got Bronfman, Edgar Bronfman. I mean, he was the head of the World Jewish Congress. You never hear about them. You will never hear about the World Jewish Congress in Switzerland. You won't hear anything about Switzerland, but right there is the crux of everything. Is Switzerland. Right there.
Right there.
Switzerland is there's a problem in Switzerland. If they're so neutral and all that, why is the CIA 19,500 feet underwater on their border in Lake Geneva with France? And then who's over in France? You got that little weasel Macron that likes to screw his own teacher and marry her. You don't take sand to the beach, buddy. just a complete jerk off. They and when they wheeled out that guillotine, don't just show it, use it. Go grab that little shit and just put him in it and just cut his head off. You know what? We would have already been done by now. That's all you had to do.
Period.
I mean, it's so mind blowing because these people, they want to sit here and they want to run around and say, "Oh, the Jews are good." No, they're not. They're not. You know what?
The Jews have crashed every damn economy on a major scale. The Soviet Union, Russia, Jews, Hitler, right? And I'm not listening here. I don't agree with everything everybody does. Hitler individually, psychologically, is not my cup of tea. But I will say this. If you look at what Hitler did, right? What was his first two policies? What made Hitler mad at the Jews? If you actually study the history, let's not look at the Holocaust as a boo moment, and let's just look at what angered Hitler. When he wrote that letter to come into power, what angered Hitler? The same thing we're going through now. The Jews through the banking system.
But explain the difference.
Well, the thing is,
semi, because there is a difference. I don't want to lump everybody into the whole every Jew, because I know some great Jews. So
well, the thing is that Jews, it's not a nationality, it's a
Thank you.
religion.
Right.
yeah,
You got to get rid of religion. Religion is division.
Right.
Every war that's there's been more people killed because of religion than anything. And guess what? I mean, seriously, we're biologically immortal entities. It doesn't matter what kind of religion you are. You know, it's all about your spirit, your soul, your ether. We all come back. It's just a complete circle over and over and over again. And we're the idiots that keep on doing it over and over and over again. We're too dumb to actually sit down and finally have this discussion and say, you know what? Let's end this shit. That's it. We're done. We're done with this. I mean, we know who's to blame here. So we have to pin the blame. It's the Jesuits.
yeah.
The Jesuits are the number one. That's it. They're the ones that created all this. They're the ones that created the CIA. They're the ones that created communism, because they created communism, because democracy plus socialism equals communism.
Right.
So why in the hell would we sit here and say, oh, we're a democracy? No, we're not a democracy. We're a constitutional republic.
Thank you.
That's number one. Number two, we have commies in sitting in Congress. Are
100%.
What the hell is going on?
Right?
I mean, seriously. And then you watch these State of the Union addresses. Why are all the Democrat women wearing white? It's the witches' coven. It's a whole witches' coven.
Right.
The witches, Dracula, I mean, vampires, all that shit's real. Look at Nexium and Sanctum and all these bloodletting, sex things. It's like they're all in on it. And the thing is, if you notice, they're all Jews. But the thing is, everybody's like, oh, you can't say Jew. It's like, you know how many people were killed during the Holocaust that were Jewish? 0. You want to know how many people were killed by Orthodox Christian and Orthodox Christian from Russia? Over 20 million.
That's right.
They were war camps. Why were they burning the bodies? They had typhus. You have to destroy the virus. That's why they were burning it. All Holocaust means is burnt offering.
That's true.
That's exactly what it means.
Right.
Now, Hitler was over there cloning, back in the 30s. He cloned a whole battalion of the blonde hair, blue eyes. That's why he made them blonde hair, blue eyes, because the genetic makeup of Germans usually back then was brown hair, brown eyes. So they knew exactly who was what.
Right.
That's how you knew who the clones were.
Right.
I mean, that's what they did.
Jason, do you think that some of those that are rioting are actually, I mean, we know that there's MK Ultra stuff going on with literal cities. And there's like the individual stuff that's coming through the TV and whatever subliminal coming through our iPhones and what have you to do the MK Ultra. But I've read and I've seen studies where they actually use the MK Ultra, like scalar waves and what have you, to do whole groups of people, whether it was Montauk or Seattle or different places. It makes me wonder about like Oregon and like these riots and stuff. They're not like connecting maybe with individual people, but if they can get people who already have like an aversion to that, and then they get into these groups, white or black, Asian, whatever they are, and then they could zoom into places where they think that they are going, and then have them do different things that they wouldn't maybe normally do. You know what I mean? Like, what about that?
They can create drones. I mean, why do you think they're all covered? Why do you think they all wear masks and everything like that? Wouldn't you shit if you saw somebody looking just like you out there rioting? I would. I'd be like, wait a second, that looks like me. When they draw your blood and everything, that's all they have to do. Yeah. All they need is a piece of blood, hair, anything like that, and they'll recreate you. That's all they've been doing.
Planned Parenthood.
I've been telling people this for years. And it's like you willingly go to the doctor and get blood drawn. You don't know where the hell that blood went.
Yeah.
They could have cloned you and killed you 20 times already.
Where do you think they got the Nightmare on Elm Street from?
Dude,
that's the Mark III REM clones. I mean, it's the REM sleep clones.
But also exactly Elm Street, JFK. Hello. I mean, think about that.
People just need to understand that you're not the top of the food chain. And I think when people realize that, it'll open their minds. And I feel like nobody has never been in a position. I feel like the way that life is set up, people don't realize that you are comfortable in your fish tank because it seems real. It's like the only reason Finding Nemo rebelled to get out of that tank is because he was once in the ocean. So in his mind, because your body carries your mind. So whatever environment your body is, your mind is in. So if you take the mind out of this natural environment and put it in an artificial environment, the mind will always rebel. But if the mind is born in this artificial environment, it's not going to rebel until it realizes it's not supposed to be there. And a lot of people, we being born into death pledges, mortgage. Etymological root to that is a death pledge. You being born to get a job. A job in Hebrew means punishment. So you being born and you paying for your sins. Your sins is your ignorance. Your sins is that you don't know you have sovereignty over your own mind. As long as you're not committing harm against another being, you can live whatever life you want to live. So since you unintelligent, you can't build your own house, you can't create your own clothes, you can't grow your own food, you are dependent upon a government. Govern means control, means your mind. So since you can't control your own mind, somebody else is going to control that for you. And that somebody else, you don't realize, is someone who has your back and your worst interest at hand. And when it comes to the general public, it's like the general public is so caught up in their little imaginary worlds, they don't realize that if not a bigger threat, there's a bigger intellect out there. You don't know everything. You don't know what's all going on. You don't have it all figured out. You just don't know. You don't know what's best. I don't really care if you're a child, teenager, parent, grandparent, teacher, professor. You don't know. I don't care if you're a police, lawyer. You don't know. You're not the smartest person in every room that you go in. And the smartest person in the room does not have to reveal themselves at all times. So what the general public has to do is they have to wake up to the fact that all mythology is not a myth. Yes, things like giants were real. Yes, and are real. Extraterrestrials are real. Yes, everything you ever thought was a lie or seen it on TV, if it's not true, don't you at least question where the damn idea came from? So my thing is, Chainsaw Massacre. Nobody just woke up and let me say this before I pass it back to Jason. If you came to my house and I said, I got an idea. I want to make a movie about a man that kidnapped tourists and chopped their face off and wear their face. The first thing you would do is you would say, this guy must be going crazy. Let me call a therapist to see why he's thinking like that.
Get the hell out of my house. What are you what kind of drug are you on? It's like, what? I mean,
but that's the thing about deception. If you're in deception, you don't know you're in deception, right?
We've all been in this whole thing's deception.
Yeah.
Like you said with the school books, it's all indoctrination.
Right.
It all started from when we were born. From birth to the year 7, we were food. From the year 8 to the year 25 or whatever, that's indoctrination. Because it's the endocrine system. It's your glands is the first stage. Then you have indoctrination. And then guess what? You all are slaves. And then as soon as oh man, I can't wait to retire. Yeah, they'll flip that switch right there. Because whoever gets to retire and then like live a happy life? Nobody does.
Nobody.
Never. Because you got the IRS and the IRS is all junk too. And all of that. That's why, with Trump, everything President Trump has done in the past 4 years with both hands tied behind his back, with everybody trying to kill him and everything like that. I mean, look at how much he's done. I mean, that's why he deserves all of our respect. And I mean, he's helped everybody. He hasn't helped just one race. He's helped all Americans. And then he's helping everybody all around the world, across the world, because it's not round, all across the world, because they know that he's got the big nuts. Why do you think he went to Saudi Arabia and had the sword dance? Why do you think he ate at the Forbidden City? Why do you think he had the Japanese red carpet ceremony? They know who he is. He is the highest military. He is the highest commander in the military order of Christ. That's exactly who he is. It's all the way down his bloodline. It's the Christ consciousness. Everybody's dying for this whole, second coming. I mean, you don't even know the first coming, never less the second one.
Right.
It's like, everybody sits here and says they want to fight about flat earth, round earth. But then they'll sit here and say, I read the Bible. Well, then you missed the first chapter because it mentions it there. And then it mentions it all over the place. And then even good old Werner von Braun, because remember, they have to tell the truth. He even has Psalms 19:2 on his headstone, which mentions the firmament. I mean, so the winners of World War II get all the Nazi scientists? I think not. Who won World War II? We didn't.
Right, we didn't, but people
No,
do.
they just paper clipped everybody over here, and we just kept carrying on, and they've infiltrated everything, and here we are.
Yeah, and I feel like this is the main thing everybody needs to realize, right? If you don't know your place, you don't know your position. If you don't know, if you're a pilot and you don't know where the cockpit is, you'll never be able to go in there and fly. So we all of our souls are already somebody. We just don't know who that somebody is supposed to be because we don't know our history, our historic. So I feel like what people need to do is totally just detox whatever you learned in school. You know, if it wasn't something that's universal like math or something like that, just detox it and just go do the research for yourself and complete your mind. Because what's really happening is, it's like if I give you, it's like if I'm your teacher and I say take this vocabulary test or take this test and there's 10 answers on there, you might only know 3 for sure. You know 3. The other 7 out of the 7, 3 of them 7 you might not know, but you can guess. And then the other 4 you just skip because you don't know. Now the questions that you skip, if you don't come back to those, I can subconsciously insert the answer. So what's happening is we all live in life with blanks. We have an incomplete sentences. And if you got an incomplete sentence, you have an incomplete thought. And if you have an incomplete thought, you don't have a complete mind. And so I can come and just keep inserting scenarios or suggestions that's like pop-ups in your mind. So if you don't know what happened between this time period and this time period, if you white, I could just say blame poor black people. And if you're black, I could just say, well, blame white people because they're all racist and don't care. And now I'm helping you complete your mind with an illusion that creates my construct. It would be the equivalent of, like I said, a child. And I keep using the word child because we have to understand your inner child is the gateway to your soul because that's the most purest form of yourself. And the thing about a child is they so close to the creator that you don't even expect evil. You don't even know what that is. A child would never, if your mother told you, don't hang with your dad because he's a bad person, you would not think your mother was lying to you. But your mother could be very well lying to you. So what we have to do is we got to balance that. And we got to start to use math and calculate. And you don't have to just add numbers. You can add behaviors. You can add anything you can think of. And this is how we solve crimes every day. We add up probability, we add up suspects, we add up movements, we add up outcomes, and then we say, out of everything that we added up, this seems to be like the most likely equation. And what's happening in the world is nobody's in pursuit of information. Information, your inner form. Information determines your inner form. It shapes your mind. You're not shaping your own mind. So these entities, these lower level entities, such as these occultic practitioners and these puppets, they're shaping your mind by controlling your inner form. And they're telling you who to be mad at. They're telling you what to like. They're telling you what to react to. They're telling you what to believe. And by the time you catch up psychologically, these people are already 400, 500 years ahead of us. They get in 1955, the CEO of Lockheed Skunk Works said that if you've seen it on TV, whether it was Star Wars or Star Trek, they're either doing it already or not doing it because it'll be a waste of time. That was in 1955. So by the time you think that that's a reality, they already 50 ages ahead of that. By the time they was playing with the internet in the 30s and the 40s, and now we think we cute because we got a white. Whatever they're giving us is hand me down. So yeah, we're not really a developed people. We're an underdeveloped people, and so you don't really we don't really know the threat level. All because all coming back to what I said earlier, we're not aware of a higher intelligence, and we're not aware that intelligence may not have good intent. Just like you got some parents who love their kids, you got some parents that abuse the hell out of their kids and abuse their authority, and you got parents at home that tell their kid to touch the stove. Now we can't fathom that. because we righteous in our heart and we pop hands to that. But you got parents right now at home that think it's funny to tell their kids to do things that harm them. And we have people like this that develop intelligence. And so we're not aware of evil because it's not in us. And we don't expect, I don't leave out my house every day looking at kids because I'm not a pedophile. But just because that's not in me doesn't mean I'm not aware that that's not in somebody. And so we are associating intellectual people like these people above me with things like being non-desirable or being nerdy. But we don't understand that you got people that are intellectual that may be completely wicked. And it's two, I'm gonna end here. It's only one difference between your local surgeon and Hannibal Lecter. Your surgeon wants to heal you, Hannibal Lecter wants to taste you. Only difference. If your surgeon ever decides that while he's operating on you, he has the desire to take a bite out of your spine, you'll be bit on that operating table. So that's the only difference, is the desire of the heart. And these people that possess these knowledge, these people that's interacting with these beings, they have a wicked ass desire. And as we brought up the people earlier, names, letters, first letter J, last letter S. In the Bible, what does it say? What does it say? It said the synagogue is the home of Satan. Who's the only people on the planet? Always, if they're not fully responsible for everything, they're attached to the chaos. It's them people. Who are the only people that worship their deity in the synagogue? Them people. Who are the only people that got the Six Flag, aka the Moloch Rimfram logo on their flag? Them people. Who are the only people been kicked out of 100 countries for sacrificing kids and making cakes and pastries with the blood? Them people. Who are the only people right now that a black man like me can't even teach my history because they slit my throat in the history book? Them people. Who are the only people right now crushing us with the banks and trying to crash the economy? Them people. George Soros is a what? He's one of them people. The CEO, Mark Dubowitz, of the FBD. He's one of them. Every time we turn around, it's one of these religious associated entities connected to evil. And they're also connected to intelligence. It may not be historical intelligence, but like this gentleman said, it's damn sure computer and cybernetic intelligence. And these two things together got us where we are today. It got us in this jam. And if we do not acknowledge the elephant in the room, the elephant will crush everybody in the room, straight up.
Well, and the problem is that this whole machine learning, when they started all this machine learning stuff, that they're trying to make computers as smart as humans. Well, the thing is that we have a quantum computer in our head. Our brain is a quantum computer. Right. And like you said, like with Ben Rich with Skunk Works. I mean, right. the stuff that he said, he's like, that's 50, 60 years down the road. We already got that. It's like, well, if people remotely knew why they did 9/11 and all of this, and just the technology factor in all this. I mean, underneath us, they have these maglevs. They're magnetic levitating trains. They go 17,000 miles an hour. But you don't think anybody, I mean, people take the subway and they're like, oh man, this is nice. It's like, man, they're
shooting off to Mars like in 30 seconds.
Oh, the things that they have actually even created and kept from us. I mean, like all the cures. They have all the cures for everything. People that sit here and donate the cancer cures and all that, just stop it. Mm-hmm. It's all for cloning. They're sending it to AbbVie, which is offset of Abbott Laboratories. I mean, we've been through that whole entire road. What they do is they use words that you can't pronounce, so you're not going to look into it. But then you look at the molecular formula of it. It's like, well, if fentanyl has this molecular structure to it, has this formula to it, but then they give you this that says, oh, it's going to cure MS. But then it's like, well, it's impossible. I mean,
right.
It's like, fentanyl has what, 26 atoms of carbon. You turn around and this other thing from AbbVie has 6,878 of them. And it's like, and the whole molecular structure, like, oh, well, we were going to put it out there, but we decided not to. I'm like, We know what you guys are up to.
Right.
You know, we already know. We got everything documented. You guys are fucked. That's it. We've got everything on Unit 8200. That whole Talpia program, this whole Israeli bullshit and everything. We're on to all of them. You know, every bit of them. Hewlett Packard's in on it. I mean, there's so many companies that, I mean, why do you think that every year for the past, 27, 28 years, they've had a new company come out on the NASDAQ? The Talpia program has. I mean, they're evil, flat out evil. That wasn't even their land. They took it from Palestine. They didn't have a land. Why did World War II start? Like when young Pharaoh was mentioning about the Germans, everything like that. The good old Judaism, they were the ones that started it first.
That's right.
They started the war with Germany first. Judea started with Germany in 1933. Everybody can look it up. It's all right there. But then they want to start whining when it's like, oh, you know, blame us, poor us. It's like, who settled all that? The Bank of International Settlements. Where's that based out of? Switzerland. And what they do, it was all crisis actors. Because I'll tell you what, if somebody were to put a tattoo like that on me, the first thing I'd do leaving there is get a knife and cut it off. I wouldn't be parading around showing it off and everything like that. Sometimes people need to just think a little bit outside the box, you know, and understand it's like they're doing this for a reason. You know, this isn't for sympathy or anything like this. It's just to keep the storyline going.
That's right.
Just so that they can it's just like Scientology and everything. Scientology was good in the beginning, and then they turn around and you had Edgar Bronfman buy it, which, you know, of course, we all know who he is. And the CIA infiltration over invasion. That's where Operation Snow White came in, where the Scientologists turned around and infiltrated the government because of all the tax and everything like that. It's like, if people really knew, you know, what L. Ron Hubbard really did for everyone. I mean, he taught people how to revert in their minds all their past lives. And what they do, they killed his kid for it. And when they find him, October 28th, 1976. What was the first day's acute drop? October 28th, 2017. What was the kid's name? Quentin, with a Q. I mean, these people are still in this game.
That's right.
I mean, this is a game of vengeance, and people are pissed. They took all these perfectly good things and they created them for evil. That's where MK Ultra came from. Yeah. That's why L. Ron Hubbard walked away. He didn't want to be any part of it. You know, blame the Hebrew Blood Alliance and blame the Markabians, because they were the ones that came here, made the deal with the Hebrews, and now this is why we're in this shit. But now we have to learn from it so that this doesn't happen again, because we do have the capacity and the ability to all become creator gods in our own right. Lowercase g's. I kind of laugh at that too. So uppercase G, lowercase g, OGs, you know how it goes. But we have that ability.
Right.
But the thing is, it takes a lot of work. Everybody's all worried about, oh, can't wait till 5D. Why just 5? What about 6? What about 7? What about that? What about the densities? It goes all the way up to the 13th density. I mean, what about that? I mean, everybody wants to settle for middle management. That's it. Why? You know, it just goes to show that, you know, either you have the drive or you don't. Once you start learning this, you're going to be really pissed. And then you could sit here and argue till you're blue in the face. But guess what? We have all the documentation and it's all of ours, and we're getting it all to everybody, and they can all eat a dick. That's all I care about. That's it. Sorry.
So on that note, we went a little bit over. So I'm just going to give each of you guys like a couple minutes of final word hope besides eat a dick. We're going to.
What? That wasn't a good finale? Come on.
It sounds familiar. I kind of said something similar, except for it was a bag of those things earlier about someone. But anyway, if you could go around and just say something hopeful that we can focus on, because what we focus on, we make room for. And then also for young Pharaoh, whatever you have coming up, like what's going on, where people can find you, what have you. Jason and I can say, are going to be on tomorrow with Robert Steele on his show, Robert David Steele. And then I know Jason and I are going to be on 7 o'clock at 7 o'clock this Thursday. And then he's also on with explain the whole Charlie Ward thing too.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. What's the times on that?
I got 6 a.m. in the morning, I've got Charlie Ward, and then I have, what is it?
I know time change. All the time change.
Yeah, it's 6 a.m. 6 a.m. for me at Charlie Ward, and then at 8:30 p.m. I have Dr. Jason Dean, and then Thursday I come back with you at 7 o'clock, and then Friday morning start with 7 a.m. or 6 a.m. with Dr.
Dr. Ward.
Dr. Ward, and then at 8:30 p.m. come right on Dr. Dean.
Yes. So give me your final words of hope, and then I'm going to have young Pharaoh share what he's got coming up next and how to connect with him and stuff too.
Everything's done. It's all finished. Trump's the president. He's going to be the president. No, I mean, Biden's dead. They shot him. They executed him. Kamala Harris cannot be a president or vice president, president, anything. She's an anchor baby. Read the Constitution. It's all there. And take off the damn masks. Seriously, you look really stupid. Don't do it. That's hope. Quit following people. You know, be your own. You don't have to be a leader. Don't look at us for leadership. We're all in the same team. We're all trying to help one another.
Right.
You know, if you need help, we're here. But don't look up to us. I mean, I don't want anybody idolized. If you knew some of this shit, I wouldn't want to be idolized about any of this. Some of the stuff that these savages have done. I mean, we should be pissed off as humanity, period. But, you know, everybody just follows their technology and just has their head down and puts a little mask on because they're compliant. Screw compliance. That's why we have a constitution. Read it. You know, I mean, people should be like proud of where they're from. And be happy of who everybody else is. We're all one and the same.
Right.
You know, we're all one soul. We're all one spirit. That's it. You know, I don't care what anybody looks like. Looks are deceiving. I mean, come on. You've seen some of the prettiest looking girls be the biggest bitches. Everybody's seen it. That's why. Oh, and kids, the ugly big girls in school, yeah, be their friends because they turn out to be the hot one. Right now. Hey, we're truthers, right? You said truthers, so there you go.
All right, Pharaoh, what you got?
I have one event coming up in Houston regarding my 5th mixtape. The title is Love to This Shift. That's SHIFT. It's 5. It's the 5th one, so I'm in the throat chakra on that one. For those of you who follow my artists, like, you know, I project my consciousness into my music, and there you go. But that's not really important. That's just something personal going on to my brain.
That's important. No, that's very important.
It's important, but I don't want to go from intergalactic conquest to a mixtape. So I want to throw that out there. But I want to keep what should be prioritized. And I just want to say, keep your mind strong, because your mind is what travels through the toughest environment. And if you can survive within lower level frequencies, then you can think. If you can't survive within fear mentally, if you can't survive within panic, then you can never transmute that energy into a strength. Courage doesn't come from being fearless. It comes from being fearful and then no longer being in fear. And the only way you can be no longer in fear is if you address that what you fear head on with a strong mind. Courage is not, I don't think the lion is going to eat me. Courage is, I know this lion going to eat me, but if I don't got a knife, I'm going to poke his eye out at least. So you be blind for the rest of your life. Courage is not, I don't think Michael Myers is about to stab me. Courage is, I'm going to stab you back. Even though you're the walking dead, you're going to have a couple wounds after you kill me in this kitchen. So that's courage. Courage is directly being able to deal with the situation that the outcome is not guaranteed in your favor, but still trying your hardest. That's courage. So you can have courage for a test. You can have courage to ask a girl out on a date. You can have courage to try to infiltrate the government by hostile Israelis and communists, Chinese, and treasonous Democrats. You can build up the courage for anything you want to do in life. And I want to end on that. And I want to say, I appreciate you both. I have a lot of respect for you both. Me personally, I am currently, if you guys don't know, watching at home, I am a CEO. I have multiple businesses, companies that I started. and I'm looking to become someone. I don't want to become a political figure. I don't want to do any of that because I don't want to, I don't want to be in that type of circle. I was going to become a lawyer, and I said, I don't want to be in court all day dealing with wicked people because you're probably going to kill me. So, I wouldn't survive in that area. But I do want to become a very successful businessman and allow my mind and my business to go hand in hand so that way I can aid righteous people around the world. So imagine if somebody like Bill Gates actually was a genuine person. Imagine if these billionaires who actually have all of this money and could solve world hunger with just 10% of their bank account actually did it. So I want to utilize my mind, not saying I'll become that rich, but to put myself in small positions of power and help people out as I can on them levels as I grow. And that is my announcement. And that is what I leave you all with. And thank you for having me.
Awesome. I love you guys so much.
Very good.
I wish I could do a group hug here, but what I would say is, coming from the naturopathic animal kingdom, I would say, eat good, get grounded, be with animals, get in nature. I love that we can do this box within the box kind of deal on social media and all the things. But you guys, it's really important for us to get super grounded and just to be in other places where we're, not escape, but to be grounded enough so when we can get connected to source, that we're getting our own information, our own direct TV going on. So these guys are great. I enjoy having people on. Jason and I enjoy having other people on to interview and to talk to and get these diverse experiences and perspectives. But the ultimate thing is to get true source information. And when you can get out in nature and eat right and do good things and have a pure heart, be with animals, get in high frequency, then we can actually hear from God on our own and get that truth. I do encourage digging. Jason is the king of looking up stuff and finding stuff and spending hours and hours and hours of, getting actual documents and proof. Yes, you are. You're awesome.
No. I'm telling you, it's all of us. I mean, you have to understand. I mean, it's all of us combined. I mean, it's an energy that see, that's where everybody's got to get this right. I mean,
that's what I was going to say.
Keep on saying it blue in the face.
Yes,
I understand it, but the thing is but don't put me on some kind of pedestal because I'm not. It's all of us. All this, they told us to archive everything offline. That's what we did. We just followed the rules. They set out the game. We're playing the game by the rules. That's how you win the game. That's it.
That's right.
And then and we're all players in the same game. We're all in this alternate reality game, that they started back in a couple years ago with Project Architectus. But I mean, it's just, and that's why they say all this for a LARP. What do you think we are? We're live action role players ourselves.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
We're the LARPs. That's it. So it's look, I mean, the game, that's why I said we're watching a movie. That's it. Relax, people. Let these other people act like assholes. They have cops and all. They have interdimensional beings that are coming in just snatch people left and right that are on our side. I mean, our job here is to learn.
Yeah.
Not to go out and raise hell or anything. Learn. Get together. Have manageable debate. Not even debates. I mean, we all sit here and talk about the same stuff because we're all researching the correct ways and we're not following, the idiots that, I mean, they'll come up with just some idiotic idea. It's where in the hell did that come from? I mean, everything that we come up with, it's tied into at least 4 or 5 ways. I mean, it's all in the drops. I mean, everything's in there. But people want to, they just read this that's why they stopped, 10 Days of Darkness of drops and all that. It's go back and reread them. Go back and reread them.
Good point. I need to do that myself.
I mean, check out post 520 and 1143 if you want any more. Those 2 posts are really big. So
I just want to encourage you guys to stay present and to do not get in fear, because fear will set your body up for beta and fight or flight. And when you set yourself up for that and you come into agreement with that, then you actually just create more and more, and they're going to use our own creative power against us.
That's right.
We are stronger than that. We can come together and we can have discussions like this, and we can shine light on the truth, and we can, discuss and speak from our perspectives. And we're not saying everyone's got to think like us. We're just saying, hey, hang out with us and let's see what you resonate with. And whatever you do, great. And whatever you don't, throw it out and go on your merry way and do your own investigation. Like, that's the biggest thing that I could say about anything is go dig around, go look up patents, go look up on the CI website, go see what stuff has been declassed. There is high technology that has been out there for years, decades, and it's there for all of us, and yet we're not using it. So look up this stuff, and I hope you guys do plug in, go to the website, swiftfire.org, get on the newsletter in case anything happens, God forbid, after they've said a few things about the V and the N and all the stuff that everyone's been talking about tonight. I'm like, please, dear God, all the things, prayer. But blessings on
the truth. That's all. I mean,
yeah, I know nothing but the truth. So help me God. And I appreciate both of you for your time tonight. We're going to have you back, young Pharaoh, for sure. That was just epic what you brought to the table here. And I just have immense gratitude for both of you. And I'm just so thankful that I get to do life with people like you in this moment. And for all those you guys who are watching, we're so appreciative about you, because leaders show up, and you guys are leaders, or you wouldn't be here. You're drawn here for a reason. You're drawn here because you're a part of the equation. And Jason says this all the time. It's us. It's us. It's us. It's us. It's we. It's not any of us. It's all of us. And I love when he gets on that kick, because it just gives me like goosebumps on my goosebumps. And there's like truth to all of that. And I love all of you. Thank you for hanging out with us. I hope to see you wherever we are. And you guys have just the best night ever so far. And just keep on shining bright, loving and living in your truth and your love and to your fullness of what your potential is, because that's all we can ever do, is just be our best version of ourselves at all times. And love you guys. I hope to see you guys wherever. We'll catch up. I'll see you tomorrow, Jason.
Definitely.
I'll see you whenever you're ready to reach out and see me.
Yeah, I'll definitely see you Thursday.
All right, sir. Oh, tomorrow we'll be with Robert Steele. Don't forget.
Oh, that's right, Tom.
Yeah. I know. He got a calendar, you guys. That's how busy he's getting. He bought a calendar. That's a big deal.
And
see, Pharaoh, he's had a calendar for like 2 decades, because Pharaoh's been doing, this stuff for a while.
I don't plan. I'll tell you, I don't plan. And the thing is, now I got post-its all over. I'm just like, oh God, this is getting out of control.
You guys do,
but it's good.
Stuff.
It's just doing these podcasts with like young Pharaoh now and everything like that. Now we're just all connect. Now we're all connecting as one. And once we're all connected as one, they're in trouble.
They messed up.
That's right.
All right, you guys. Over and out. Peace to you. Go to swiftfire.org. Sign up for the free newsletter. That way we're always connected no matter what. And I will see you guys tomorrow, hopefully, when we're on with Robert Steele, and definitely Thursday night. And you guys go find Pharaoh on YouTube. He's on YouTube. He's on Twitter. Jason's on Twitter. I'll put all the links in here so you guys can connect with these guys on an individual level and always know what everybody's doing. All right. Talk to you guys soon. Have the best night ever so far.
Right now. Peace.
Thanks a lot, young Pharaoh. Having a good one.
Thank you for having me. Much love.
Thanks,
Much
you guys.
love to you.
Thanks, all the viewers. All right. Talk soon. Bye.
You bet. Bye.